Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I hope you're doing fantastic out there. In this video today, I'm going to install USB power on my 2022 Honda Trail. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and take a look at the USB that I picked up for this bike. I ordered this on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description box down below in case there's anybody interested in this one that might be using a Honda Trail. So first thing that we see is the USB part itself. I chose red, anodized red with black. There's a fuse in there, so you get a spare fuse. So this is what it's going to look like. It's the quick charge USB 3. Nice looking unit. Positive and negative inputs. And then it does come with these wires. These wires are about maybe 2 feet long. And right here, you can unthread, and that is where, whoops, that's where the fuse is. Right there. So it's got an inline fuse, which is nice. That'll keep this system protected in the event something goes south. So right here on the handlebars by the ignition, there's a little rubber grommet that you can pop out of the way. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look and see. Oh yeah, check that out. That's going to be a really nice flush fit. I like the way that looks. That's going to work very well. At this point, I need 2 metric Allen wrenches. I need a 6mm and a 5mm. These two right here. On the side of the center rack that I put on, there's these plastic plugs, and the 6mm will fit that. So there's one on each side. And the 5mm will fit this center machine bolt right here, and it'll also fit this bolt here. So there's that side. Now we'll take our 5mm and we'll pull that center bolt out. And let's take this out. Since the other one's already out, this one broke loose fairly easily. So there we got that. Now we'll lift this rack straight up out of there. And when you take the rack off, you're going to pick up 3 spacers, one on each side and one in the middle. Don't forget those spacers. Okay, now I'm going to take my 5mm right here on the side, and I'm going to bust this one open. This isn't necessary if you're just going to access the battery, but I'm going to take this cover off because I would like to put in a SAE connector so I could plug in my quick tender, so I could put in my battery maintainer. So I'm going to pull that one out, and now using a flat screwdriver, I'm going to pop this one and this one out. So to do that, you just put the flat screwdriver and push straight down. There we go. Once you hear the pop, you can kind of get underneath them and pull them straight up. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to do the same thing here. This one's going to be a little bit harder to get to, so I'm just going to push down in the middle. There. Now let's try to get under there. And now from here we're just going to pull this panel off very carefully. There we go. Very easy. Okay, from here we're going to just kind of flex this thing, bend it up, and be very careful right here. You got to kind of pull forward and just gently pull. You don't want to accidentally break that tab off. So now that we have this off, we have access to 2 more 5mm, one right there and one right there, and that'll take this plastic part off of the battery, and then we'll be in business. So the first 5mm is right here on the side. We're just going to loosen this. Be careful when you take this out that you don't accidentally drop these bolts into the bottom of the motorcycle. So I'm going to use some needle nose to grab those. So there's one. Now we're going to do this other one on the far side over here. And again, got to be very careful. Don't want to accidentally drop that into the motorcycle. Both of these bolts are the same size, so you don't have to worry about which one goes where. So right now we're looking at all the hardware that I've taken off. These 2 push plastic pieces, you can see the one that goes towards the rear of the bike, it's a little bit shorter. And these 3 bolts are the same, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Now at this point I can fold this forward and get access to the positive and negative terminals. This is just a number 2 Phillips. So we're just going to loosen the positive here, just like this. That'll pull straight out. Again, don't lose your screws. And we'll do the same thing with the negative. Just bring the negative out. And now we can connect our wires to the battery. And I'm just going to pull all these wires through. Get the USB right where I want it. And then I'll push the lock ring up and get it into position. Once I get everything where I want it, I'll just tighten that lock ring. So you can clock this to whatever position you would like it to be. So I'm going to clock it right there. I think that looks good. Now I'm waiting for this lock ring to grab. There we go. So when you get the lock ring finger tight and you want to go a little bit tighter, you can push it with a flat screwdriver. I'm just going to bump it with my hand here. Hopefully you're seeing that. So I'll just get a hold of the lock ring and just kind of bump it. There we go. That looks really nice. And just in case you didn't notice, I had to take 1, 2, 3 little plastic clip out to get these wires. I had to loosen this housing, but I'll be able to fix that here in just a second. So let's get this zip tie on. It doesn't have to be crazy tight, it just needs to be snug just to keep those wires in place. Cut it with some diagonal cutters and we're good to go. So from here, I'm gonna pop this little plastic piece, pop the little center up, put it inside the hole, and now push the center part down and that'll lock into place. I have 2 different bolts. The one with the shoulder goes on the top up here. These are both 5mm. So I'll tighten that one down. And the other one goes right here. Pretty easy peasy, to be completely honest with you. And now I have my wires through. So it worked out pretty good. So at this point, what I want to do is I want to turn the wheel all the way to the left and all the way to the right. And I want to make sure that none of these wires are pinching or anything. And it looks good. So we're ready to move on and make those connections on the battery. Now I'm going to add the positive and negative for my SAE out. Now I ran out of ring connectors, so I just soldered my own on there. I'll attach all of those positives right there. There we go. That looks good. Now on to the negatives. Okay, now that I've got the wires connected, I'll go ahead and put on this cover. Got one there and one right there. That'll hold all the wires in place. I just kind of tuck those down, make sure nothing's pulling or snagging. and that looks good. Before I put the panels on, I want to test the USB. So let's see what happens when we push the power button. You can see that it displays voltage of the battery and it turns off. So we have USB power. That is fantastic. So I am probably not gonna show the whole reassembly of everything. It is just the opposite of how we took it apart. We're just gonna put it back together. So I'm not gonna show all of it. We'll see when I'm finished. Reassembly was very simple and it went super fast. It was easy putting this all together. Last thing is putting these rubber plugs back in, one on each side. The installation is complete. Let's go ahead and test it out. You can see that we have battery voltage. So what I'll do is I'll take my USB cord, I'll plug it in, and let's find my phone. Let's plug the phone in and see what happens here with the phone. Doo-doo. Now you can see that we are charging, and that looks fantastic. Looks like it's working as intended, and it's fast charging. It's not a slow charge or telling me I got the wrong cable. It's providing plenty of power for me to charge my phone. So it's working as intended. I'm very happy. So not only do I have USB power, but I also have the ability to plug in my battery tender. So I can plug that in and charge my battery on the bike. Let's turn this on. You can see the battery voltage is 12.6. Now watch what happens when I plug in my battery tender. See the battery voltage climbing? 12.9, 13.1, 13.4, 13.6, 13.7. It is charging my battery, 14 volts. That is fantastic. So in the event of a low battery or something like that, this is going to work very good to charge that battery. 14.6, then it dropped down 13.6. This is wonderful. Now I can keep that battery fully charged in the wintertime and stuff like that when it's cold outside. This is really nice. Well folks, I want to say thank you for joining me today on this video installing USB power on the 2022 Honda Trail CT125. Disassembly was harder than reassembly. It was very easy putting this USB power on. I think it's going to make this bike much more versatile. I hope that this video helped somebody out there, and I hope you guys like this video. Share this video. Feel free to leave comments down below and let me know what you think. And until next time, I hope you have a beautiful day. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.